In this edition of Southern Newsweek, thousands take part in Matariki celebrations across the south for the first official public holiday. A famous cat in Lawrence, known as Bowie, is preparing to move to greener pastures. And a 160-year-old cottage is restored in the Southern Lakes thanks to an Irish builder. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. Matariki was celebrated across the south last weekend with a range of events including song and dance, night markets and hangi. For many of the smaller centres, months of preparations had gone into making sure Aotearoa's newest official public holiday was a success.
Gore celebrated the Maori New Year, Matariki, with a colourful bang over the long weekend. Thursday saw a well-attended night market and light displays at the Gore Gardens. And on Friday, the public were welcomed into the field day shed at Waimumu for performances by kapa haka groups, along with local bands and musicians. West Gore School added to the visuals with their own Matariki display. A selection of cuisine was on sale from food trucks, with bouncy castles to keep the children entertained. The family event capped off with an early evening fireworks display. Patches of drizzle didn't deter hundreds from gathering to celebrate Matariki at Wanaka's Roy's Park on Friday night with song and dance. The waterfront was abuzz with both locals and visitors celebrating the passing of the winter solstice with a hangi and night market. Kahu Youth Operations Manager Anna Sutherland says it was good to see so many from the local community taking part.
We've got all of Wanaka down here, we've got youth singing on stage in Te Reo, being celebrated, being awesome, connecting with Māori culture, celebrating the new year. We've got so many community groups here helping us protect our environment. We've got our hangi cooking, we've got these beautiful bonfires. We're just having an amazing time.
In Naseby, community and connectedness was the heart of the inaugural Matariki public holiday celebrations on Friday. Almost 100 people filled the Naseby Town Hall for the first official performance by the Maniatoto Community Kapa Haka Group. Co-founders Lauren Becker and Amy Pont say the show carried a lot of meaning for them.
It doesn't matter where you go or how long you're away for, you've still got a place. And these are our songs that we sing and to connect.
And I loved seeing everyone enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was really impressed and some people said they got quite emotional and everything, so that's connecting to others.
I think it was
Special.
It was special, and special to do it for Matariki.
And in Kaiapoi, glow spinners and live music entertained a crowd on the green space behind the local library, with a night market, hangi and a fireworks display finishing off the evening's celebrations. Across the regions, the south today.
Dunedin's annual Octacan food drive saw many people braving wintry conditions recently to donate to people in need. Items donated go to the food bank at Presbyterian Support Otago, who say the need is greater than ever.
Stars aligned as Dunedinites donated to Presbyterian Support Otago's Octacan food drive this morning. Even 18-month-old Nita from Pioneer's home-based childcare proved you're never too young to know the gift of giving. Presbyterian Support says the cost of living has driven up the need for people to come to them for help.
8 out of 10 new clients to the food bank are new clients to us that have never reached out for help before, and we've seen a 40% increase in the amount of food parcels that we're having to deliver.
The event began at 7:30 a.m. as those bringing canned food helped to bring the event's theme into shape. Each year the organisation has a theme, and PSO's Jude McCracken says as the nation's first Matariki holiday is tomorrow, it seemed logical for them to arrange this year's crop of cans into the 7 stars of the Matariki cluster. King's High School was just one of the many organisations who worked towards donating to the event.
All our different house groups are bringing cans, a little bit of a rivalry between the houses and groups, and essentially it's just to show our support for the community, to make sure that we're helping others who need it, and really getting out there and doing our part.
It means quite a lot to me personally. I've been able to come out every year and help the community and often help organise it too. with, you know, seeing all the other senior leaders come through and do it, and this is my first year to be able to, you know, be the leader and help out.
Presbyterian Support hopes the cans collected today will see the organisation through until Christmas, but it says demand is already very high.
The need is huge. So before August last year we were averaging about 63 food parcels a week. Currently we're up around 100 to 120 a week.
And while Octagon is a special event, the organisation always welcomes donations at its Moray Place headquarters. In Dunedin, the South Today.
An independent cat, which had become a local identity in Lawrence, is about to leave the town. The feline, named Bowie, is one cat who's definitely used up some of his 9 lives.
You might be forgiven for thinking this large white cat that roamed the Lawrence streets was a tailless Manx, but the cocky and confident feline actually lost his tail after a tussle with some neighbouring Rottweilers while previously living in Hamilton. His owner Tracy Henderson says they also discovered he'd survived a shooting.
He was with us for about a week and he decided that it would be a really good idea to go and play with the dogs next door. As it happens, he lost his tail and it had to be removed surgically by the vets. And at the same time, the vet found a bullet in his chest. So they removed that and he came home with us and he recovered just fine.
They named the cat Bowie because of his bi-coloured eyes, similar to rock star David Bowie. The Moggie's become a well-known identity in Lawrence over the past 3 years, cajoling treats from nearby shop owners.
He just gives you that look. He's got different coloured eyes, okay, so he's been shot, as you know, no tail, and poor boy, gives you that look and you just go, oh.
But Bowie's family are now moving 10 kilometres down the road to Waitahuna, where it's hoped he'll enjoy his new habitat and help out with pest control.
Hopefully he'll be a bit of a mouse catcher with a bit of luck and see how he goes from there. Hopefully he doesn't make his way back to Lawrence, so we'll see.
The plan is to leave Bowie indoors at Waitahuna until he gets acclimatised to his new surroundings. In Lawrence, the South Today.
One of the oldest buildings in Queenstown is being restored to its former glory. The historic cottage in Lower Shotover was originally constructed in the 1860s, and now a builder from Northern Ireland has taken on the big project to bring it back to life.
A unique doer-upper from the 1800s. This suburban cottage is thought to be one of the oldest buildings in the Whakatapu Basin. Now the rustic structure is being restored by a builder who moved to Queenstown from Northern Ireland in 2011. John Hudson decided to take on the challenge of the restoration project a few months ago. He originally bought the property, including the old building, in 2019 and says there was a lot of intrigue surrounding it.
Yeah, just seen the land come available through Shotover Country. The section's released, and yeah, I had a lot of interest in this section as it was that big and the historic cottage on it.
It's believed the cottage was built by farmer Thomas Hicks sometime between the 1860s and 1870s. It's estimated it'll cost around $200,000 to renovate the building. Its most significant feature is its timber shingle roof, now protected by corrugated iron, which suggests it was built pre-1875. The restored cottage will include a living room, bedroom and bathroom, with Hudson planning to pay tribute to the building's former glory by replicating some parts of the building. It's a huge project, but Hudson insists he understood the commitment he was making when taking on the project.
Well, I did know that there, and I would, accepted the challenge, and I wanted to restore it to its natural glory, really, and
I guess the bonus is that you are a builder yourself, so you're...
Yeah, exactly. So I knew what I could do and how I could improve the land.
Hudson hopes to finish the renovation work by November. He wants to open the historic cottage up to the public, with the idea of using the unique building as an Airbnb rental property. In Queenstown, the South Today.
Still to come after the break on Southern Newsweek, workers accidentally create a water geyser in Dunedin's George Street, and a house near Alexandra proves to be well insulated, so much so the owners haven't needed to use heating yet. Tēnā koe, welcome back. A water main burst in Dunedin late on Monday afternoon, sending water 4 stories into the air, with the geyser visible from much of central Dunedin. The stream of water was flowing from a water main near Farmers on George Street, where contractors are working on the $28 million upgrade of the central city.
The work on Dunedin's multi-million dollar George Street development came to an abrupt halt just before 4 p.m. Monday afternoon when a water main ruptured, sending water straight up in the air about 4 stories high. Contractors raced to fix the issue, with a group of workers in high-vis outfits trying to stem the flow. One of the diggers on site tried placing its bucket over the torrent as a way of stopping the floods of water from damaging nearby shops as it came down. However, water did enter the front of the Farmers Department store, forcing staff to quickly move stock. Today's incident follows an accident last month in connection to the CBD upgrade project, when a 34-year-old woman was taken to Dunedin Hospital in a serious condition after getting an electric shock while working on the upgrade of Dunedin's main shopping street. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Wanaka builder Clint Gollop has constructed what's described as a high-performance home in Galloway near Alexandra. He says these types of houses have the benefit of costing far less to heat, and so far the new owners haven't needed to turn on the heating since they moved in.
Nestled amongst the schist rocks at Galloway, some 10 minutes drive out of Alexandra, is this house, built by Wanaka builder Clint Gollop, who specialises in high-performance dwellings. He says the immaculately insulated and sealed home is much more airtight than any modern house would be when built with traditional techniques and materials.
And so the difference between a standard built home and this one is about 38-39 times more airtight. And that airtightness equates to less energy needed to actually heat the home, also for cooling in summer.
Measuring just over 300 square metres, the home is cut back into the hill and designed to blend in with the surrounding environment.
You know, there's no real sharp peaks or anything like that, so we went with a nice mono-pitch roof so it sits into the land nicely. And there's a lot of rocks and stuff around Galloway, so we decided we'll have some schist on there, some timber. So we've got a bit of rustic charm coming into the home.
Galloway is higher and more exposed than Alexandra, but Gollop says the house is already proving a success as far as power bills go.
The high performance home does its job, and so far we're at the start of winter coming up. June just round the corner, and they still haven't turned any heating on yet.
The home's exterior is designed to need minimal upkeep, allowing the owners to sit back and enjoy the landscape. Near Alexandra, the South Today.
A group of Dunedinites have spent the last few months knitting items to be sent to help people affected by the war in Ukraine. Operation Cover Up has been running around the country for a while, but Russia's invasion of Ukraine increased the need, encouraging many people to spring into action.
Baling and boxing up items with the aim of helping some families in need in war-torn Ukraine. A group of knitters have been hard at work in Dunedin, creating woolen items including gloves, scarves and blankets. The local items are being packed up to be sent to Auckland, where they'll be added to knitted goods, nappies, hygiene items and other necessities, which have been collected nationwide.
And they go to Amsterdam and then overland to Romania. And from Romania they're distributed to all those other countries, Moldova, Ukraine of course, and the neighbouring Eastern European countries.
Operation Cover Up was started 22 years ago when a woman sponsoring a Romanian child discovered she was in great need when she visited the child in her orphanage. The Mission Without Borders charity supports a range of Eastern European countries, with Green Island's Janet Cameron Hall a hive activity on Sunday as donations were sorted.
In the background here's my lovely ladies that help me. We're receiving all the goods, we're counting, sorting into categories, and the non-knitted items go into a banana box and taped and labelled, and all the knitted items go into baled.
Cover Up group members collected toiletries and began knitting items earlier this year. The organisation usually sends 2 containers full of knitted goods each year to those in need, with the Russian invasion sharpening volunteers' focus on Ukraine. Organisers say about 120 boxes were sent from Dunedin this week. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Thousands braved Christchurch's cold winter nights over the long weekend to explore Matariki themes through light and sound. The annual week-long Te Rama Mai Light Festival features a series of lighting installations and artworks and is set to run until this Sunday.
Dazzling displays of colour, along with fire breathers and aerial performers, lighting up the chilly winter nights as Christchurch celebrates Matariki. The city's annual Te Rama Mai Light Festival has combined with Matariki celebrations this year. That brought thousands of Cantabrians out to brave the cold, exploring Matariki and Ngāi Tahu narratives, told through light and sound. Christchurch City Council Events and Arts Manager Lucy Blackmore says the festival is evolving each year.
We wanted to have a richer, deeper meaning behind what we're trying to do with this event, and so that's where it's great that the storytelling is incorporated in the vision, the light, everything has a meaning behind it.
The centrepiece of the festival is this 21-metre long illuminated tunnel. Tane Flanagan from Matariki Creative helped design the installation, also providing his voice for the narrative.
We hope that people walking through understand the creation of a world according to Ngāi Tahu, and I guess the power of storytelling and how storytelling can carry a lot of learnings, teachings and guidance through tikanga and te ao Māori.
He believes the festival is a great opportunity for local Māori to get their stories out there. Christchurch City Council Arts Advisor Kerry Jardin says there's a great hunger for knowledge about Matariki and the region's history.
It's an amazing opportunity to learn, and I know that there's a hunger for knowledge about history, about Te Kahui o Matariki, the star cluster that is Matariki, and about Ngāi Tahu. So it's an opportunity to start engaging with those in an enjoyable way.
Te Rama Mai continues every night this week, with the performance elements returning again from Friday until the festival wraps up on Sunday. In Christchurch, the South, today.
Still to come after the break on Southern Newsweek, a new opera with ties to an old Seacliff hospital is about to hit the stage, and a Pohutakawa tree is planted for a very special reason in West Otago. Tēnā koe, welcome back. Rangatahi from Southland and Otago have come together in Invercargill to share their thoughts and experiences at this year's regional Manu Korero speech competition. The event is one of the most significant events on the Māori education calendar for nurturing the public speaking skills of Māori pupils.
The annual Ngā Manu Korero speech contest is a nationwide event aimed at encouraging the development of skills and confidence of Māori students. Although the national competition is being held online, the southern regional competitions were held in person recently in Invercargill. Budding young orators attempted to impress the judges across the 4 overall categories of junior and senior Māori and junior and senior English.
What it was is a way for Māori speakers to show their proficiency in te reo Māori, as well as also in the English language.
And while the event was hosted in Southland, speakers from Otipoti schools or Kura walked away with the majority of the awards. Maia Rakete Gray from Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Otipoti won the senior prepared Māori section and is proud to be among rangatahi helping revitalise te reo.
So I'm actually the first Māori speaker in my family. I was lucky enough, grateful for my parents. They put me in Te Kohanga Reo Manaki. I'm lucky enough to be able to grow up around my culture and find out things that have been lost in my family for generations.
20 students from around the region took part in the 2-day competition this year. The numbers affected by COVID-19 and other illnesses impacting schools. King's High School student Te Atarau Cassidy comes from a Dunedin whānau where te reo is the main language in the household.
When my older brother was born, they decided to start speaking te reo Māori to him and carried it on till I was born a few years later, and pretty much been speaking Māori my whole life.
Regional Manu Korero coordinator Cherie Ford says the event's important for providing a stage for young people to express their views. It was a new experience for Waitaki Boys High student Aidan Takirua Mita, who was among the speakers embracing the opportunity to take part in the event.
I've come on totally fresh. I've never heard of this before. Yeah, I expected there to be events like this, but I wasn't sure if, it was such a big thing in the South Island, but it's good to see that they are. So I really like this event, and I wish more boys in my position would come as well.
The speech competition's in its 57th year nationally, and Southern Coordinator Cherie Ford says it gives young reo speakers a platform to share their experiences as tamariki Māori. King's High School's Te Atarau Cassidy won the Senior Māori category, along with claiming the Senior Māori Impromptu section and being named first overall. Meanwhile, Queen's High School student Tallulah Costa claimed top prize in the English category. In Invercargill, the South Today.
Dunedin opera lovers are in for a treat this coming October with the performance of a new work composed and performed by Dunedin-based artists. The Strangest of Angels is described as a harrowing but hopeful look at Dunedin's former Seacliff Mental Hospital.
A new opera is coming to Dunedin in October with a very local connection. Called The Strangest of Angels, the piece is about acclaimed author Janet Frame's time at the Seacliff Lunatic Asylum in the late 1940s. Created by Dunedin composer Kenneth Young, the opera was written during his recent period as a composer in residence at the University of Otago. The work was commissioned by Dunedin soprano singer Annalise, and Young says the creation was very much a collaborative effort between the pair.
What she wanted to do with the piece was have a compositional input into a certain part of the opera, so that worked very well, very pleasing.
The script for the opera, known as a libretto in the music world, was written by Georgia Jamison Eames, who was also well known to the composer.
I've known her as a student for 20 years. She's no longer a student. She's a very fine singer and opera diva herself. She wrote the libretto. And we got together and discussed what sort of narrative would work, and then she went away for a few months and provided me with a libretto. I then wrote the music.
The opera looks at the Seacliff Asylum as it was experienced by Janet Frame, who famously dodged getting a frontal lobotomy in 1951 by winning a prestigious book award just days before the scheduled operation. Young says for one of the opera's major scenes, it was actually singer Annalise who came up with the melody.
She provided me with the vocal line for a certain part of the aria in the third scene, which I then transcribed and set an orchestral palette around it.
The Strangest of Angels had its premiere in Christchurch last month with 2 sold-out shows. The opera is set to be staged in Dunedin in mid-October at the Mayfair Theatre. The shows will be part of the Dunedin Arts Festival and co-presented with NZ Opera, and also feature the Dunedin Symphony Orchestra. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A Pohutakawa tree has been planted at Tapanui Cemetery to remember those who've passed on in recent years. Members of the West Otago community gathered outside the cemetery for the planting of the young tree, which also has a special connection with Matariki.
This Pohutakawa, planted at the Urupa or cemetery at Tapanui, has special significance for tangata whenua and Pākehara alike.
We chose the Pohutakawa for the link to the Pohutakawa star and bringing it back to the remembrance, so we can sit here. And we've chose the entrance of the Tapanui Urupa. This is the entrance just over this side, just so people can sit here and reflect.
Karakia and Waiata rang out before breaking ground at the cemetery. Whaia Jackie Eels helps coordinate the kapahaka at Tapanui schools and says the tree and all the materials for the memorial seat were donated by local businesses. The Pohutakawa tree was chosen and planted at this time of the year to mark the Māori New Year.
And we chose the Pohutakawa for remembrance, and I chose this spot here because when I was looking after Bernardo's tamariki, home-based education, I used to bring the kids here and we'd sit here and have a picnic. So now I thought, how great to have a chair here.
8 more trees are due to be planted over the next 8 years, marking the 9 stars in the Matariki cluster. And while the beginning of Matariki is about remembrance, Eels hopes it'll see people increasing their cultural awareness in years to come.
I'm just really excited because I know that in the future, it's going to get more like people are going to be aware of it more, so which is fantastic.
She says the cluster of Matariki helps bring people together, which is why members of the community were invited to help join in the tree planting event. In Gore, the South today.
And that wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.